Chapter 6 is about how our perception of time has changed with technology. Instant once meant hearing the news if you were watching it, and if not, you'd find out in the morning. Then it transformed to the idea that you didn't have to be watching because you would get the news straight to your smartphone. Technology has allowed us to be reached in real time now. Because of this, advertising has also shifted from being more of an estimate about what people want to see and when, to demanding precision for the time, audience, and content of advertisements. Since the shift from newspaper ads to TV, radio, and now smartphones, companies have the ability to gather data in a way they were not able to do previously. This allows for the companies to make precise decisions based on the data gathered about when people want ads for certain types of products or what types of people respond most to certain ads at certain times.
That's going to give some more context to a lot of the later slides is the advent of granular advertising. And the big idea here is due to new technologies and mediums, marketers and advertisers are able to more specifically curate advertisers to consumers. And so basically, when we only had things like newspaper and radio, we just sort of had these kind of blanket advertisements that just, were kind of for everyone. And then when we had the introduction of television, we had different channels, and advertisers started sort of sectioning off, different times of day and different channels. These different times of day and different channels have different people, different groups of people watching them. So they're able to sort of, kind of more finely tune these advertisements to these specific groups. And so the term day parting means dividing up the consumer's day into different segments with each of their own particular audiences and content. In addition to this, the internet as well. Consumers trigger their own exposure to an advertisement on their own. So if you're visiting, a certain website or something, maybe you're buying shoes, you'll have those targeted advertisements. So advertisers, kind of know the type of content that you're looking for, and you sort of choose to visit this webpage with advertisements. So it's a more voluntary thing. And so with these new terms and abilities that television and the internet brought, there's a lot more complexity to the types of decisions that advertisers are making to bring these advertisements to their consumers.
Advertising effectiveness can be analyzed for different time frames, whether it be the time of the day or even day of the week or duration. Smartphones have changed the way advertising companies can track the effectiveness of their ads. Now they can use analytics to learn if ads at certain times are more likely to prompt a purchase. They can also look at what types of ads, utilitarian, which is work-related, or hedonic, play, are more accepted at what times. From the study, they learned that people tend to be more business-focused earlier in the day and relax as it goes on. This means that utilitarian ads are more successful before noon and hedonic in the afternoon and early evening. With this knowledge, which is also an inform it up move, as described in the framework, the industry is able to frame the micro moments to have their hedonic ads be framed in a utilitarian manner in the morning so that they increase purchase likelihood. This ultimately has transformed the advertising industry. As for day of the week, studies have been conducted to show that the day of the week does significantly change how people respond to advertisements. In one study, it was determined that people are most susceptible to ads on Mondays and Thursdays. Another study shows that depending on the type of shopper, focused or explorer, affects how people will respond to ads. The focused shoppers are most likely to be shopping during the week, Monday through Friday, and are there on a specific mission, so they are less likely to respond to random advertisements that don't apply to what they need. Explorers, who are more likely to just be roaming around and shopping on the weekend, are more likely to respond to random advertisements because they do not have a specific purchase in mind. Another way to look at advertising effectiveness is through the use of coupons on mobile devices. When it comes to coupon redemption windows, mobile coupons have enabled sellers to dramatically shorten their redemption time. Studies have shown that by doing so, they are giving customers the use it or lose it mentality, which prompts them to then act on the coupon. With the automated process of mobile coupons rather than traditional coupons, people receive the advertisements right on their phones, sometimes even when they reach a certain location. With shorter windows and the coupon right on their phones, people are more likely to redeem the coupon. Smartphones can also take people through the 5 purchase phases with their ability to hold, connect, and coordinate the purchase and its experience. Based on a study, it was also determined that smartphones and mobile coupon advertising has an impact on delayed sales and can help create long-term sales for companies. Overall, mobile coupons and marketing has transformed how advertisements are conducted and allow for companies to collect more information about their customers and what they want to receive in order to prompt purchase decisions.
Okay, so in this slide, we're going to be talking about a study that is in the book, and it was observing if people could be influenced to see an IMAX movie at the theater depending on how much advance notice they received. So there were 3 different groups, and each group would receive a text message promotion for 50% off the movie ticket. And one group received the text at the same day of the movie screening. One group received the text one day before the movie screening, and the other group received the text 2 days before the movie showing. So in this study, the response rate was 7.35%, and pretty consistent with previous studies. The longer coupon expiration time, the less likely someone was to see the movie. So from this study, they found that with same-day urgent promotion offers, people were more likely to go. And then moving on to the next slide, they've kind of continued this study and into a survey, but still using the same movie theater ticket example. And the survey was conducted based on 4 scenarios. Scenario 1 was someone who is close to the theater and had short notice. Scenario 2 was someone who is close to the theater but had a longer notice time. So, for example, they had 2 days before the screening, before the short notice, which would be a couple hours. And then scenario number 3 is farther away from the theater in distance, but shorter notice time. And then scenario 4 was farther away from the theater in distance and a longer notice time. And participants were asked to imagine they were in a specified distance from the theater and received a text message with the 50% off promotion. And consistent with the previous studies, scenario 1 had the highest level of involvement, which was to be expected, but the real surprising finds came in scenarios 3 and 4, which were with the promotional text for someone who was farther away from the movie theater. And they found that those who were farther away from the theater had the highest redemption rates for the promotion when the text was sent 1 day in advance, not the same day, not the shorter notice promotional text. And so this basically shows that distance and uncertainty play a large role in scenarios 3 and 4, because for scenarios 3 and 4, if you're farther from the theater and you get a short notice, then you really don't have as much time as someone who's closer to the theater to organize and tell your friends and try to plan everything and then travel a longer distance. So 1 day of advance was the perfect time to send out the promotional text to someone who is farther away from the theater. And with someone who had received a longer notice time than 1 day, say 2 days, there was too much uncertainty involved with the movie screening. So if someone received the offer, they really don't know what they're doing 2 days from now. They're a lot more likely to know that what they're doing 1 day from now. And this picture just kind of represents the distance from the theater. You may have to travel a longer distance, and traffic could play a role. There's a bunch of different things that could play a role in the uncertainty. And a couple important things to note was that not all of these insights will translate into every other product category. So for more elastic products, changes in discount percentages may have a disproportional effect on purchases among customers. So the length of the product life cycle will influence the effectiveness of temporal targeting strategies. So that's the timing of the text messages. And movie tickets are relatively inexpensive and therefore more likely to be subject to impulsive purchases peer pressure, and word of mouth influence. So nonetheless, because the interaction of time and location makes contextualized marketing more complicated than when firms think of each force separately, the study by Andrews provides firms an excellent benchmark for balancing temporal and geographical mobile targeting strategies. So basically, this is just saying you can do a geographical mobile promotional strategy, and you can do a time-based one, which is when you would receive the promotion and how much time you would have to redeem it. But if you combine the two, that provides the most optimal feedback and the highest amount of response rate with consumers.
So another consideration is mobile advertising and its effect on the different stages of the purchase funnel. The purchase funnel is sort of a concept of the different stages that a consumer goes through during the buying process. And so these 4 stages are awareness, interest, desire, and action. And these are described as the item model. Advertisers try to generate as much interest for their product or service as possible without crossing the line of becoming annoying. And so consumers in these different stages of the purchase funnel have different kind of like annoyance thresholds. So like how many advertisements that they can watch or see before they kind of get annoyed and it's too much. And so advertisers are kind of basically trying to toe that line and get as close as possible and deliver as many advertisements without being annoying. And so, for example, in the awareness stage, consumers can tolerate a minimum of 3 advertisements, versus consumers in the interest stage typically can be exposed to like a minimum of 7 advertisements. And so it's kind of like a different measurement of time to consider when and how to engage with consumers. And so when we think about some other slides, thinking about different times of the week when it's better to advertise or when more people are more likely to buy things, this different concept of time is like targeting a specific stage in this process, this buying process, to more accurately give an advertisement to a consumer and give as many advertisements to these consumers.
So next is food for thought, and mobile advertising is incredibly labor-saving, and we've only taken a small step towards the full potential of this innovation. By using data insights, companies can deliver their commitment of the right message at the right place at the right time, and the economic impact can be dramatic for consumers and marketers alike. By having an accurate message delivered, shopping can become more efficient and consumers can better place out their time and their resources. Consumers should be asking themselves, how much is my time worth, to really help them determine how much time they should shave off of their shopping so as not to take online commerce for granted. If consumers really answer this question and allow marketers to learn about their habits and read their minds, mobile commerce will become increasingly effective as a so-called concierge, saving consumers more time. A major takeaway that firms need to consider is the mantra of the right message at the right place at the right time. This concept is something that should be perfected. Time has many dimensions and layers that can greatly influence and alter our behaviors and the effectiveness of advertising within the mobile economy. Different times of the day present better or worse purchasing and marketing opportunities for different products. And by changing the framing of an ad for one product gives firms the opportunity to take advantage of micro moments throughout the day. Firms need to consider whether their goal is to make planned and delayed purchases or generate an immediate purchase. This goal can be achieved through the varying lengths of redemption windows via mobile promotions. Geographic targeting is a way to create an increased number of redemptions for mobile offers. Between timing, format, and frequency, the way a firm communicates with their customers greatly influences the consumer's purchase decision. All of these takeaways are greatly important and should be taken into consideration when creating marketing strategies.